Section 13.4 is all about being able to use everything we've done in Section 13 in order to solve quadratic equations. So there are three different methods that I've taught you to do. You can either solve by factoring, and when you solve by factoring, you need to make sure that you get it into the form so that everything is on one side equal to 0. And then you factor that, and then you set each factor that you get equal to 0, and then you solve each of those. We did that back in Chapter 7. You could do it by the perfect squares, which is what we did in Section 13.1. We made sure everything was in a perfect square form. Just like before, we wanted to make sure it was x plus some number quantity squared equals some number. So that the square, the parentheses in the square was all by itself. In order to do that, if it's in that form, then you can take the square root of both sides, set each of those up as separate cases, both the positive case and the negative case, because you took the square root before you finished your solving. And when that's the case, you have both positive and negative case, so you set up both the positive case and your negative case, and then you solve each one so that you make sure you get your two answers. Or you could do it by using the quadratic formula. Now you're only going to want to use the quadratic formula when you can set it up so that it's ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Remember, factoring is usually faster, so if you can factor it, go ahead and factor it, but it's got to come to you right away. If it doesn't come to you right away, then don't bother with factoring. Go ahead, set it up like you were going to factor it, and go ahead and use the quadratic formula. The only time I ever worry about the perfect squares is when it's already got the parentheses and the square in it. If it doesn't, then I don't try to make it look like that. I just go ahead and use the quadratic formula. That's a little bit faster. Remember, when you're using the quadratic formula, you first have to make sure it's in the correct form, which means it all has to be equal to 0. Your ax squared has to be positive, just like when you factor. Plus, you need to make sure you find out what your a, b, and c are. Then you plug it into your formula. Make sure you've got this formula memorized before you take your test. Then you're going to want to solve each of the answers and make it as simplified as possible. Sometimes that means you leave a square root in it. That's okay. Sometimes you don't. That's okay. Okay, I could go through and do one of each of these, but you have videos of me doing tons of these, and I think you probably remember them pretty well because we've drilled them pretty well. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you, since this is a big summary section, tell you what your classwork and homework is, and let you do it that way. I'll write it in purple so it'll be easier for you. Whoops, get on the right page, that might be helpful. Page 555. Look at that, we're almost done with the book. Classwork. 1 through 11, odd. Simple enough. 5 problems, you'll be alright. Oh, 6 problems, sorry, but you'll be alright. And then homework. 13 through 21. Odd. Yeah, I bet you can see that one coming. So that's your classwork and your homework for this section. Once again, absolutely nothing new. All the stuff is stuff you've done before, stuff I'm pretty sure you're going to be fine at, and I'm not worried about you in this section whatsoever. And look at that, it was a quick video. Okay, bye.